Hey everyone, how's it going? And I'm back, continuing on our series on mastering the basics. And last week we had our first video on sleep, and it was all about kind of three things you can do to help improve your sleep or ensure that you get a good night's sleep during the day, in the morning actually. So go check out that video. I think that a lot of people don't think about uh, the impact of what they're doing during the day has on the sleep that they're trying to get at night. But it's quite important to optimize as soon as you start waking up in the morning for that good night's sleep that evening. So now we're going to shift to what you're doing in the hours leading up to bed. So this is the time of day where a lot of people maybe start to think about their sleep because it's approaching, but they still might have some habits or bad practices or just things they're doing that they unknowingly affecting the quality of the sleep that they're trying to get at night. Um, so I have again three things that I think are important that might be overlooked by some people. Uh, and the first one of those things is the how close you are eating and exercising to bed. So you're going to notice a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about here, or the three things that I'm going to mention here, have to do with pretty much just like calming your body down and getting it ready for sleep. So when uh, in the hours leading up to sleep, it's important to try and minimize anything that's going to stress or excite you or anything like that, even if that could be a potential good stressor. And most people don't really consider like the food, the timing of their food, and the timing of their exercise as it relates to when they go to sleep. So um, it's important to try and give yourself a couple hours at least. I'd ideally say probably around 3 hours for most people, um, without any food or exercise before they go to bed. And that's because, first off, from a food point of view, if your body is trying to digest food, it's not going to allow you to go to sleep, or at least sleep very well. And this is, again, something that people might overlook. They don't realize the connection that their digestive system might have to their sleep. And really, the body's just in the middle of doing something and it's not in its most relaxed state. And so it can't just kind of calm down in order to let you drift off to sleep. And so if you eat right before going to bed, the chances of you falling asleep right away and staying asleep are going to be slim to none. So you want to give yourself a couple hours, and like I said, probably around 3 hours before heading to bed, without eating. And the same thing is true for exercise. Especially going to be true for things that are quite intense. So exercise is obviously a good thing. We haven't yet talked about it in our Mastering the Basics series, but we will obviously talk about it. But the timing of your exercise can make a bit of a difference when it comes to your sleep quality. So if you do a very hard workout right before you're going to bed, anything other than like maybe yoga and walking, that type of stuff would probably be okay. Might even for some people be beneficial for going to sleep. But anything more intense than that is probably going to be too much of a stress on your body in the hours leading up to bed. That's because it just raises all kinds of stress hormones, right? Exercise is meant to be intense. It's meant to be somewhat stressful to the body. That's how our body adapts. And so the chances of you getting good night's sleep after you do a very intense workout or any kind of workout, even if it's just moderate intensity, is going to be slim to none. So giving yourself, like I said, 3 hours at least for food. I would probably say exercise even more than that, maybe like 5 hours if possible. Now, I understand I myself do choose to exercise at sometimes in the evening, and I realize that it's going to affect my sleep quality, but I have to balance. It's not something I do all the time. It's not something I do every day. It's just uh, um, sparingly, and I do it mostly because the community aspect of working out with other people in the evening is more beneficial from time to time for me than just getting the best night's sleep possible. So I make that sacrifice, but I knowingly make that sacrifice and pick and choose my battles in that case. So that's my first tip is just timing food and exercise before you go to bed. The second one is I'm not going to tell you to not be on your phone. I'm not going to tell you to not be watching TV. I'm not going to tell you to not be on your computer. I'm not going to tell you to not work before you go to bed in the evening. I'm not going to tell you not to look at screens, all that stuff, because I do all that stuff myself. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to do these things um, when I do them. Do I believe that they can be beneficial to abstain from in the hours leading up to bed? Yes. Do I believe that some people are more affected by the light coming from their phones and their screens and their tablets and that type of stuff before bed than others? Certainly, certainly some individual variability there. Um, do I believe that you should probably do things to help mitigate the exposure to the light coming from your phone, your tablet, your screens before bed, if you can at all possibly do that? Yes, because I think it's a zero cost benefit that even if it has a minor effect, it can be beneficial and you likely do that. So I do wear things like blue blocking glasses before I go when in the evening when I'm watching TV, when I'm on my phone, when I'm on my computer, just because it doesn't hurt to do it, right? It's not hindering me in any way. And if it helps even just a little bit, I'll do it, right? So what I do think is important is when you are doing something in the evening, when you're relaxing in front of the TV, when you're relaxing, when you're sitting down to get some more work done, when you are, scrolling social media or on your phone or whatever, make sure that whatever you're choosing to do in that time, that activity in front of the screen, is um, mindless, right? It's not stressful, right? So. Um, For me, I have certain things that I do at night that I know are not going to be stimulating or stressful to me, right? So I don't, what I do for work wise in the evening is I might write, right? Like I work on my blog post or my newsletter or something like that, something that's just, I can go ahead and do that. Or I might respond to client emails or something like that that are that I know I can just easily respond to and kind of clean up before the end of the day. Or I might try and I might work on a problem that I know is not going to be overly mentally taxing at the moment, right? From a software engineering point of view, right? So there are certain things I pick and choose what I do, the activities I do, and I'm not going to work on a huge engineering task that's going to keep me up all night thinking about, how to fix it or how to do it or how to implement it or whatever. I'm not going to try and work on someone's exercise programming at night because that can be, kind of a mentally taxing task to nail down, right? I'm not going to watch a scary movie. I'm not going to uh, get myself all riled up by watching some kind of news show or something like that, right? So I'm going to pick and choose the things that I do on my technological devices. Who am I? On the screens and the things, my phone, what I'm watching on TV, what I'm working on, very carefully so that they're not overly stimulating to me in the time leading up for bed, or else I will be just jacked up trying to go to sleep, and that's not good. And this brings me to the final point that I want you to do. My third tip here in the hours leading up for bed is make sure your head is clear, right? So one of the practices that I have, and I'm not saying that you need to do this, but it helps me out, is I go through my journal and I look at the stuff that I have to do for the next day and I write it all out. And I say, I have this meeting, I have to get this task done, I have to pick up the kids at this time, right? So instead of like going to bed trying to be like, oh yeah, I got to do this and I got to do that and thinking about this and thinking about that, I have it all written down and it's out of my head, and then that allows me to go to sleep with a clear conscience and like not a to-do list that I'm trying to manage in my head. It's all written down. It's all taken care of. It's out of my head. And same thing if like I have something that I need to remember the next day, it's written down either in my phone as a reminder or somewhere else. And so I'm not trying to remember these things or work through something or whatever. or trying to go over the things I need to do the next day right before I go to sleep. So I literally like try to empty my brain of everything that it's on my mind from that day and what I have to do for the next day, and I have it all done, taken care of, and written down and planned out, what I want to do the next day, so that I'm not going to bed trying to do that stuff in my brain or remember it in my brain or whatnot, because then I just won't fall asleep, or I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll think of it and ruminate on it, and then I won't be able to fall back asleep. So clearing your head, however that's possible. Maybe you use a journal, maybe you use your phone, maybe you, I don't know, you have a way of organizing your emails or your calendar or whatever it might be. Just make sure that everything that you would try to like go to bed and ruminate on is like out of your head and your head is nice and clear. And you can use meditation and you can use yoga nidra and like all these fancy things to help assist with that stuff, but ultimately like I just want you to clear your brain before you go to sleep, and that's going to be the best thing to allow you to just drift off to sleep and not wake up and try and like solve or remember you have to do something or whatever, and then keep you up all night. So those are my three things. So just to review, we want to allow probably about 3 hours of between the time you finish eating dinner and the time you're going to go to sleep. I would say 3 hours or more for exercise before sleep as well. So make sure you're not doing it right up before sleep. Um, whatever you're doing, whatever you're participating in, whatever you choose to do in the hours leading up to sleep, whether it's TV or being on social media or on the or working or whatever it might be, reading, etc. Just make sure it's mindless. It's not stimulating. Don't watch a scary movie. Don't watch the news. Don't read a crazy stimulating book right before bed. Like, don't work on some hard engineering problem. Whatever you might be doing, like, just make it mindless. Make it simple. Make it easy and complex. Something that you can just go through without much mental engagement or stress. And then finally, find some way of clearing your head right before you go to bed. Write it down, use a calendar, meditate, yoga nidra, whatever it might be. Just get everything out of your head before you go to bed, whether it's written down or somewhere else in your phone or somewhere, so that you can drift off to sleep with no worries or stresses about what's going to happen the next day. And those are my three big tips for evening and getting a good night's sleep. So if you're enjoying the series on Mastering the Basics, please go to my website, rjbhealth.coach, click on the newsletter link at the top, or you can scan the QR code at the top of the video there. That will bring you right to the page, and you can enter your email address and sign up for my newsletter. And I will email you whenever one of these new videos come out, and also whatever content that I put out during the week. So that would be the best way to keep up with what I'm putting out on a weekly basis. And if you are interested in one-on-one coaching, please reach out. I do have maybe one or two spots left. I have had a couple of people jump on board recently, so I can maybe add one or two more clients. So if you're interested in that, please go to my website, rjbhealth.coach. Again, on the homepage right there, you'll see a button to schedule a discovery call and fill out the form, and then I'll get right back to you and we can chat a little bit more about that. And with that, I'll say thanks, everyone. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you all next week.